If you're a tourist in San Diego, steer clear of the entire downtown area.
We were once called America's finest city. Does this look like America's finest city right here?
San Diego, America's finest city. I don't think so.
It's literally a constant all day long of fire trucks, ambulances, and police.
This is what you see when you walk out at the door. San Diego used to be known as America's finest city for its near-perfect climate, beautiful beaches, world-famous zoo, and gorgeous landscape. But due to lax policies surrounding crime and homelessness, the city where the median price of a home starts at $1 million has turned into a drug den, complete with government tent cities and drug addicts who suffer from public mental episodes. Now, I initially headed to San Diego to highlight the homeless crisis, but at the same time, some of the most destructive fires in California history were happening in LA. While the beginnings of these fires are still being investigated, they've so far left 40,000 acres burned, alongside an estimated $250 billion in damages. And with more questions than answers surrounding how they started, many Californians have begun to point out that 50% of the fires started in LA have been tied to the homeless population. We met up with Amy Reichart, a San Diego local who has become all too familiar with this situation.
A fireman from the San Diego Fire Department contacted me anonymously and said that this right here, this homeless encampment is like a mini city, completely dystopian like Mad Max, and that if it catches fire, it's gonna run and hit those apartments right there. That's why the fire captain reached out to me.
As soon as we got out of the car, the first thing we saw was a smoldering fire and a homeless man wielding a knife. Amy decided to call the fire department to come put it out due to high wind advisories. Keep in mind, we filmed this the morning that the Pacific Palisades fire had just begun. Talk to me a little bit about what you're doing here.
Looking for things that survived the fire.
When did this fire happen? Do you know?
A few months ago.
A few months ago.
We're looking at a fire right now that has been started. This is a homeless encampment that is known to the city of San Diego. And we have high wind advisories right now in San Diego County. And people in the back country, which is really just 15 minutes from here, have been warned that their power can be cut off at any moment because of the fire risk. And here we have a fire that has been started. And what we know is 13% of all fires that are started in San Diego are caused by homeless encampments. We just recently had a big homeless encampment fire not too far from here, closer to San Diego State, that burned 40 acres and even touched homes. So unfortunately, these are a common occurrence in San Diego.
While the cause is still being looked into, officials with the department tell me the fire started in or very close to a homeless encampment.
We've seen the increase in homeless activity. I mean, fire was inevitable. You know, they got, like they said, propane tanks, they got gas cans, they got whatever.
We are off the side of the highway in San Diego. We're going to give you guys a little bit of a home tour here of these homeless encampments. So as you guys can see, we got our very festive Reese's peanut butter trees. We've got a clock on the wall, so the homeless always know what time it is. You got the couch in here, nice little living space. But this is what is being allowed to be built, created in the city of San Diego. It smells like urine very heavily here. It doesn't seem like this is a very sanitary area. Again, I'm just asking the question, why has California made this okay and the normal everyday for their children to see?
I've lived amongst these people in these things. I was raped in the tunnel underneath the military housing. I understand that there's murders and things that happen that the plastic artificial grass is a cover.
This is an open-air drug market. Basically, people are allowed to smoke fentanyl and start fires with no consequence. And it's a threat to the apartments and the homes in the community all around it. There's a lot of stolen property here. We find bicycles, generators.
All the bikes you see, stolen. There's another generator right there, stolen. They come down here, they can make it to where they can have, Instapots, microwaves, they get everything working.
Do you think if, as like normalizing this as a community like you talk?
No, this isn't by far, no, it's not normal. We've lost com- compassion, stopping and noticing when things are different and asking, hey, are you okay today? Opening the door for people.
But see, so I differ in it. I think that we have had too much compassion, that we've allowed addicts to be on the street and use drugs, and I don't think that's okay.
We've seen a fire. We've seen a homeless person walking along the freeway. You've seen a person with a large knife. These are daily occurrences here in the homeless encampments. It's total lawlessness.
After touring this encampment, we headed downtown to go speak to a business owner who has struggled to keep his storefronts open due to the homelessness and crime. With the crisis becoming more and more apparent, the closer we got to the heart of the city.
So we've seen everything from violence to dead people, bodies that have been picked up by local authorities. We've had people having sex right here on the sidewalk.
Gosh.
Yeah, right in the open, right there.
Are there children that ever come down to this area?
Of course, yeah. If I see kids, I call 911. I'm seeing the same thing in every place I visit that has.
And real quick, too, you left LA to get away from the homeless crisis, and you came here to San Diego.
Yep.
What has your experience been here in San Diego in comparison to LA?
So specifically when we got here, we knew that Todd Gloria was running for mayor, might win. We were nervous that a progressive Democrat as mayor would explode the problem, and sure enough, it did.
If you're a city with no homeless shelter, no affordable housing, no permanent supportive housing, but you have a homeless population, who do you think is servicing them?
Right.
My city is.
After living here for 3 years and opening a business in this building that basically failed because we'd have people show up and they say, we can't come down here, it's too scary. And we'd have guys come by and bang on the glass and yell and scream threats at my girlfriend, partner, and our staff.
And what kind of drugs are you typically, are you aware of the type of drugs or?
Yeah, fentanyl, heroin, and crack. You know what sevens are? It's the guy that's all like bent over.
Oh, we say in San Francisco, they call it the fentanyl crawl. So
Fentanyl crawl, right, yeah.
How much do you think these high rises are going for right now?
Oh boy. So having lived in a couple, I've seen rents as high as $5,000 a month for a one bedroom, down to about $2,500, I want to say.
As we discussed the high cost of living, a homeless man screamed F San Diego as we walked past. So we stopped to speak with him on what it was like to live on the streets. Tell me that again.
Oh, fuck San Diego?
How come?
Well, the place is where I'm out of rent. I can't even get to the shelter. It's been 5 months.
What have you seen here on the streets of San Diego? What's going on?
Some ubiquitous homelessness, drug use, just pretty hopeless.
No one should be eating out of a trash can like that guy. No one should be eating out of a trash can. I want people to be safe and healthy and happy, and this ain't that.
One of the ways San Diego has responded to their drug and homeless crisis was by creating their own multi-million-dollar tent cities to give the homeless dedicated areas to camp. The city calls this their safe sleeping program, despite 4 deaths within the campsites. I was seeing those kind of tent cities that the
refugee camp for Americans? It's like an internment camp.
It reminds me of a concentration camp.
The city says there have been 4 deaths at its safe sleeping sites.
I just don't feel safe. There's people that you don't even know that are in there. They don't do a background check on you.
What are the purposes for having these tents? Are they going to be a lifetime thing? Do you want people to be like uplifted from these things, or do you want them to stay in these type of things?
Getting them off the streets, connected to services, and on a path to permanent housing.
That looks to be another boondoggle, another land grab, another way for them to launder more money through the homeless industrial complex.
Have you been in there?
No, yeah, I can't even get in there. I've been waiting 5 months.
So you can't even get a tent?
You can't even do that, no.
No.
No, it's pretty bad, so.
What are your thoughts on the city prioritizing the migrants over Americans?
Yeah, I think that's utterly appalling.
The state has recruited 2 San Diego hotels to give temporary housing to asylum seekers.
State officials tell me it's being used as a site to help migrants arriving from Mexico.
It seems like they helping people who are not the American citizen more than they help their people that are from here.
The California Department of Public Health paid about $19 million and $28 million to rent out the rooms in the Mission Valley Hotel to use them as migrant shelters.
Illegal immigration has had an impact on the homeless.
I can't get a shelter because of that very same reason.
Because of the migrants.
That's exactly right.
Now, California has recently come under fire after it was discovered that the state spent $24 billion over the last 5 years fighting homelessness, only for the public to discover that not only did the state not track outcomes, but the number of homeless people increased by 30,000 during this period, bringing the number of California's homeless population to over 171,000, with 30% of the nation's homeless living in California.
Okay, y'all, so we're walking the streets of San Diego, and this guy with a bowl of oatmeal on his foot is walking down the street. He says that his foot started burning randomly, and he wanted to make it stop. He showed us the bottom of his foot. Did not look good.
It's really burning, like it's serious, like I want to stop. But it hasn't stopped yet, though. When we take it out, it gets hot. Here's the imprint.
Oh, yeah, it does look like it's burning.
It's just racism. It's like there's a Holocaust on mixed race people like me. They don't feed me as a Puerto Rican. I'm homeless. There's a lot of racist people. Because I'm Puerto Rican. There's like a race where Irish. It's because I'm Irish. I'm allergic to shellfish. I'm allergic to shellfish.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish. It's a Jewish thing. It's not Jewish. It's Scottish.
San Diego is a microcosm of how bad things have gotten across California. From the open-air drug use, homeless encampments, and soft-on-crime policies, many Californians have shared that the state has almost become unlivable. But things are starting to turn around with just last year, California residents voting to pass Prop 36, which would increase penalties for certain drug and theft crimes. This was in direct opposition to Prop 47, which for the past 10 years contributed to a surge in shoplifting after retail theft under $950 was no longer classified as a felony. This is the first of many steps Californians are taking to reclaim law and order in their state, with many calling for even stronger leadership, especially after the Eaton and Palisades wildfires have left Californians victims to arsonists, looters, and questions of whether or not the homeless are starting fires as many continue to randomly ignite throughout the state.